that lovely voice. So I'll mute it. So we are going to start lying down. So yes, if you're doing your twist on your side, come and lie down. So as this is the first class, Sheila, I obviously saw you on Friday. As this is the first Monday class, we're going to be taking it reasonably easy and just eat, and also because it's quite warm today. So we're going to start with some things on our backs, and then we'll move over into a little bit of sitting, and then sort of on through dog pose, etc., into standing. And just make sure you've got some water. I'll try to say some, yeah, and just take breaks as you need it. And particularly Linda, Sheila, if you're still feeling not quite back to normal energy levels. Okay, so what I'd like you to do now is, if your legs are long, so you're going to come onto your back and you're going to bend your knees and stand your feet on the floor. And then when you're ready, you're going to start to let your knees tilt a little bit to the right and a little bit to the left. And just see how that familiar movement feels today. So, you know, every day our body's going to feel a little bit different depending on what we've been doing, depending on what yoga we've been doing over the summer break, and what we've been doing this nice warm weather. And we've got the benefit of this lovely little mini heat wave, so that often makes us feel a bit more comfortable and relaxed in our bodies. So a couple more times, letting the knees tilt to the right and to the left. And then settling down in the center. And just let a breath come in, let a breath leave you. And then what I'd like you to do for a few cycles of breath is to bring your palms over your eyes. Now, you could rub your hands together, but you might not need to do that to warm your hands up today, given it's quite warm anyway. So rubbing your hands together if you like, and then bringing your palms over your eyes, and that's it, removing glasses, and fingers on your forehead. And just enjoy perhaps half a dozen or so cycles of breath with your eyes being bathed in this darkness. So there's just a chance for the eyes to sort of relax, to settle back into the head. If you like, you can let while your hands are over your eyes, you can let your head roll to the right and to the left. And if it's more comfortable to lengthen your legs out on the floor, you can do so. I just want to quickly check my messages. Okay, so just perhaps one or two more cycles of breath with palms over the eyes. Let the breath come in, let the breath leave. And then bringing your arms down to rest on the floor beside you. And then what I'd like you to do is organise yourself so you've got your right knee bent and your left leg long on the ground. Good, brilliant. And then what I'd like you to start with is just a little bit of tilting your right knee, a little bit to the left and a little bit to the right. This doesn't have to be a huge movement. You can explore making it a big movement if you like. But just noticing how the weight is rocking side to side in your footprint. Because in a moment, we're going to do a movement where you're not letting your foot rock from side to side. You're going to try and press down as evenly into that foot as possible. Okay, so from tilting your knee to the right and to the left, then try and settle your foot and your leg. And now you're going to come to pressing into that right foot and letting the right side of your pelvis come away from the floor. So pressing into your right foot, that's it, letting your pelvis roll towards the left, good. And then stop pressing into the foot, let your pelvis come back down onto the ground. Penny, I wonder if your foot is slightly too close to your pelvis. Yeah, just try that. Yeah, try there and see if it's easier or harder. If it's harder, then go back to where you were. Good. So just repeat this movement a few times, pressing down into your right foot, letting your pelvis tilt towards the left, letting your left leg roll a bit as well. Good. That's nice. And just keeping it sort of soft and relaxed through the shoulders, the arms, and the jaw as possible. That's it. So maybe do this once more like this. So one more time, pressing into that right foot, letting the pelvis tilt towards the left. That's very nice. Good. And then this time when your pelvis comes back onto the floor, keep that knee bent, but cross your arms over your chest, and you're going to have your right arm on top. That's it. So it's the one way it's a bit like you're giving yourself a hug. Good. So now, as you press into your right foot and your pelvis tilts towards the left, you're also going to roll across your upper back. So you're rolling towards the back of your left shoulder. And you can slide your right fingertips out on the floor. That's it, over to the left. So I apologise about the lefts and rights. I think you're all quite familiar with this movement, so hopefully it won't be too, that's it, too perplexing. Good, brilliant. And let's keep repeating this a few times. And it might be, I often find when I'm doing this that I coordinate the movement with my breathing. So as I exhale, I'm going to be pressing into my foot and rolling. Keep your awareness. We want to have your awareness in the whole of your body, but just keep attention with your knee. So that right knee, and where is the right knee going? So even as you start to roll towards your left side, try to feel that your right knee is moving straight forwards over your right foot, rather than your right knee going over to the left. Yeah. So perhaps Aditi and Penny, that's well done, Penny, that's really good. You let your head go to the left. That's it. But yeah, so yeah, see, can you keep the knee sort of going over the foot rather than over to the left? And yeah, that's very nice. So do this perhaps twice more. So it's really, you know, our awareness is often much more up with our head and our upper body than it is with our feet. So as we start to move the upper body, but yeah, that well done, Annie. I'm just going to have a little bit of a rest. So you can uncross your arms, you can do whatever you like with your legs, lengthen them out or have both knees bent. And just let yourself settle and feel the movement of your breath in your body. Let the breath come in, let the breath leave. Perhaps one more cycle of breath. Feel the breath come in, feel the breath leave. And then I'd like you to bend your left knee and bring your left foot to stand on the floor. Very nice. So you're going to do exactly the same movement now, but you start with just a little bit of tilting your, that's it, well done, tilting your left knee a little bit to the right, a little bit to the left. Oh, so yes, just in a way, you're doing this tilting to sort of help you understand what you're not doing when you come into the pressing. So sometimes by letting ourselves do it, then we can be more aware of not doing it. That's it. So come to that little bit of tilting, feeling how you can rock your weight side to side across the sole of your foot. Good. And then you're going to settle that foot on the floor. So settle the foot, feel that your knee is above your heel, feel that the foot's in a good place for you to be able to start pressing down into it. And sometimes we have to adjust our foot. So we want the foot fairly close in towards the pelvis, but not sort of jammed up against the buttock. So see how it feels with your foot where it is now. to start pressing down into your foot and letting your pelvis tilt towards the right. Good, that's it. And keep relaxed in your jaw and your shoulders and your arms. You might want your hands on the floor now, Aditi, possibly rather than your ribs, yeah, because pressing down into that, yeah, that's it. Pressing into the left foot, the left knee moves forwards over the footprint. Repeat this a few more times. Now, Aditi, I'm not sure whether you need your foot slightly closer to your pelvis. I can't quite tell on Zoom. So yeah, try with it. Yeah, try with it a little closer. And if it doesn't feel right, then go back to where you were. And yes, and then when you're ready, cross your arms over your chest. So your left arm is going to be on top this time. Yes. Mind your glasses out of the way. And so this time you're going to start to press down into your left foot and roll across your upper back so your weight's coming towards the back of your right shoulder. Good. Lovely. And repeat this a few times. And maybe if you like, move with your breath. Coordinate the movement with your breathing. So I would, if I was doing that, I would be using my out breath to help me sink down into my foot. Linda, how's this in the neck?
It's fine, it helps ease it.
Okay, good. Good. Lovely. Really nice. So do this 2 or 3 more times on this second side. And maybe we could just try and make the movement as enjoyable as possible. I think that would be a good thing on a Monday morning. You can do it once or twice more, but whenever you've had enough and you feel ready to have a little rest, then just uncross your arms and let yourself settle down. Yeah, so just give yourself, yeah, very nice. Good. Give yourself a little breather, just perhaps a couple of breaths, 2 or 3 breaths. That's nice, Nigel. Yeah. Good. Yes, we may be going a little bit more slowly today because of the warm weather and because the sort of first class back, and I just thought we should take things easy. So we will be making our way off our backs in a moment. What I'd like you to do first of all is fold your knees into your chest. See how that feels. You can, Nigel, if you don't feel like you want to do that, you don't have to do that. You can hold around your knees, you can rock a little bit from side to side. Penny, I was thinking very much about what you said about happy baby being your favourite thing, so I'm doing it. Any sort of happy baby variations, or any taking legs up to the ceiling and shaking them out, which is always one of my go-to things. Yes, you can always add your arms in as well. Go-to things for lifting my mood. Usually makes me feel a lot happier. So, and also nice and neat. And what we're going to do, you can just stay on your back, have a little roll around for a bit longer. We're going to, from here, make our way onto one side and then over into cobbler pose. So we're not doing anything too dramatic. We're going to come over and do just a couple of simple, familiar sitting things. And if you face the long edge of your mat, then, because we're going to move into pinwheel, it probably gives us a bit more space. So you can come into cobbler pose and you can lean back on your hands, and yeah, it's not your favourite, and just see how it feels. Good. Yeah, and so when you come into cobbler pose, it might be in between sides. Yes, there's sort of bouncing the knees, there's a little bit of rocking. What we'll do is we'll just have another breath or two here, and then we'll stay here a little bit longer in between sides of pinwheel, I think. So from here, you can let one knee come over on top of the other knee, and then you can slide your top leg back into pinwheel. And you can just do a little bit of circling here. And just sort of, that's it, seeing how do the hips feel. And I always find if my lower back is feeling a little bit twingy, then pinwheel, you know, or just a bit grumbly even, Pinwheel is quite good. This sort of circling movement, so quite good for easing into that. The other thing you're going to do, so if you like circling, you can circle. The other thing we're going to do is our pinwheel forward bend. So if that appeals to you more, you come into that. So turning towards your knee that's going out to the side and folding down over that leg. And that's it. Just sort of giving yourself a few quiet breaths and just seeing how it feels. And obviously, if you come into the pinwheel forward bend and it doesn't feel that that's where you want to be, then come up again. Just, yeah, just checking it out. And as much as possible, let your shoulders be relaxed. That's, oh yes, that's a little good. Shoulders be as comfortable as possible. Let the breath come in. And then you can walk your hands back in towards you. So come back up into pinwheel. And then from pinwheel, slide your back leg on top of the leg you just folded over. And open your legs out in cobbler pose. Again, we won't stay here too long, but we could do a little bit of, yeah, you could do a little bit of rocking if you like. Holding your feet or with your hands beside you. You could do some of these ones where we do a little bit of what's it like to do a little bit of sort of leaning. You don't have to take one arm up. You could just lean, sway your body from side to side, or if you like to take one arm up and over. Good. And then we'll move on to side 2 of pinwheel. So just bring your one knee on top of the other knee, going the other way this time, hopefully. Slide your top leg back and a little bit of circling. Seeing how it feels on side 2. This can be a really little movement. And if this feels helpful, then stay here. If it doesn't feel so helpful, come into your forward bend. So turning towards the knee that's going out to the side. And just seeing how it feels to fold your weight down over that leg. And yeah, so I've got some, we're not doing them today. I've got some sort of pinwheel variations that I was playing around with during the summer, so we'll explore those another week. Today we're just doing our sort of familiar pinwheel, having a few breaths. It looks very nice in your forward bend, trying to let the shoulders be soft and relaxed. Feel the movement of the breath in your body somewhere. Absolutely feel that flow of the breath. From here, you can walk back, your hands back in. Perhaps just give your lean back on your hands and give your legs a little bit of a length out. And I'm giving you a little, I won't say it's a choice, I'm going to give you 3 things, and you're just going to have a little play around with for a few minutes. So thing number 1 is some cat. So they're all really simple things. So number 1 is cat. Number 2 is dog. Number 3 is child. Okay, so you know all of these things really well, and you're going to just see what your body feels it wants to do. So I was thinking I would start with a little bit of cat, so you don't have to do that. You can come into child pose straight away, or dog. You could do a little bit of cat, a little bit of rounding and dipping. Use those movements to see how you're feeling in the middle of yourself. And then as you're doing these cat movements, just sort of ask yourself the question, what would you like to do next? Would you like to do dog, or would you like to come into child? So if you want to come into child, you could round your back and rock back into child. If you want to see how dog feels, you could tuck your toes under and exhale up into dog. And wherever you've gone into child pose or dog pose, just give yourself a few breaths and see how does it feel. What can I do? Yeah, if we're in cats, that's good as well. Wherever you are, just that sense of how does it feel? What can I do to release tension? And also, where where do I want to go to from here? Just try to not think there's a right or a wrong, but to be led by what your body wants. Good. Very nice. And it might be that you come into dog pose and you feel that you want to stay there for quite a long time. You feel surprisingly nice. Or it might be that you have a couple of breaths and you think, okay, that's enough. I want to go into child pose. So yes, or back into cat. And equally, if you want to do a bit of tail wagging or add some, yeah, if there's something else that you feel drawn to add in. And we'll just have another minute or so of you doing these things. So if you feel that you want to add in a dog pose, if you haven't done a child pose. So if you're in child, just really letting yourself inhabit that posture. So it's or dog pose. So wherever you are, it's that chance to fully inhabit where you are, to feel your body. To think about the places where the shoulders look really good there, as you can see. So well done. So if you're in child poses, always thinking, can the shoulders relax a little bit more? And I think probably the same in dog pose, actually. Can the shoulders release a little bit more? That's it. Can I work less in the arms and more in the legs? That's a good question for dog. Now, you've maybe got one more minute to do anything you want. I'd like you to end up in child pose. So if you're in child pose, just have a little think about what you'd like to do for this last minute, whether you'd like to come into another dog or come back to a bit more cat. Yes, I think that was quite a short dog, wasn't it, Penny? So you adjusted it, which it's fine. There's nothing wrong with a short dog. Lovely, nice dog poses. Yeah, oh, nice tail wagging, Sheila. Wherever you are, just having another few breaths there. So you feel sort of compelled to do before you come back and settle in child pose again. I want you to shuffle forwards on your mat a tiny bit because you seem to be edging nearer and nearer towards being under the sofa. So remember in child pose, there's different, people have got their arms in different positions. The arms can be either side of the head or either side of the body. There's probably other options we could do. Okay. Let the breath come in, let the breath. And then what I'd like you to do from child pose is if your arms are down by the side of your body, bring the arms down by the sides of your head. And then you're going to, all of you, slide your hands forwards so your elbows come off the floor, your arms straighten, and your elbows come off the floor. And then keep your hands where they are and come up onto hands and knees. So you're going to be in this longer hands and knees position. It's possible sometimes it can be a little bit too long. And we're just going to start a bit of rocking forward. So you're not necessarily going all the way to face up dog, but you're thinking about how does it feel to start to lean into the arms and let the pelvis come forwards. And it might be that, you know, you're a bit overzealous like I was and taking my hands as far forwards as I possibly could. They might have to come back, or you might realise your hands weren't quite far forwards. So just a few times in and out. How does it feel? Good. If it feels easy, you might find you sort of come all the way into face up dog for a moment or two. But then what I would like us to do is come into lunge, and then we'll come back to these face up dogs. So you can sort of see how this feels, and then come onto hands and knees and bring one foot forwards into lunge. And so we'll have a few breaths in lunge, and then we'll come back to face up dog and just see whether coming into lunge helps to release us a bit through the front of the body. So you've got one foot planted down on the floor. Yeah, Penny, was it you we were talking talking about how, yes, so sometimes in lunge, we either can have our front foot between our hands. So I think Penny and I were talking about, if you sometimes it's nice to walk the front foot out to the side of it. So the hands come down onto the inside of the front foot. See, these are options. You don't have to do that. You might prefer your foot in between your hands. And then your back toes could be tucked under or flat, depending which your back knee likes better. Doesn't like either. It's been quite grumbly today. And just see if you can give yourself a couple more breaths. We're just trying to feel that we're giving the weight of the pelvis to the floor. Obviously, it's about this sort of lengthening and opening through the front of the back leg thigh, which can be a bit intense. So to a Monday morning. So from here, we can ease back. So if we untuck the back toe and then do this sort of easing back where we keep our chest close to our thigh, we look back behind us. And that becomes into a bit more of a sort of stretch through our hamstring and our front leg, the back of the front leg. Okay, and then swap sides in your lunge and bring the other foot forwards. As it's always, lunge is not the most elegant movement to go into. So again, we're settling the front foot down. We're trying to feel that the knee is over our heel. That again can help us feel more steady. And then either the foot's between our hands, or we can walk the foot out to the side and have the hands on the inside of the foot. Yeah, and again, just see what feels more comfortable to you today. And these things really vary. Look at your front foot and try and have that front foot as well planted as possible. So the more the foot can be really sort of steady and planted on the floor, again, perhaps the more we can feel happier we can feel in our lunge. I'll put back to the center. A couple more breaths and then we'll ease back. Giving the weight of the pelvis down to the ground. I think that's probably more than enough. Untuck the back toe. Ease back into your lunge. Look back behind you. You can always, the hands can always come closer in towards you. Yes, they don't have to keep reaching forward. Yes, so what I was thinking from there is that we would then come back onto, you need to sort of just come into kneeling for a moment to give your hands a shake out. We'll come back into a bit of cat pose, and then from cat, we'll move into face up dog. So come on to hands and knees. This can just be a normal hands and knees distance. And what we'll do is we'll use our cat to take us into face up dog. So just remind yourself of your cat movements. That's it, well done. I was going to say come forwards on all that. I'm coming off the back of mine too. It's a very long floor here. Good. So then what I'd like you to do is in your rounded up cat, stay rounded, tuck your toes under, and then rock your hips back over your heels. And then at that point, you're probably going to want to walk your hands a bit further forwards on the floor. Because then we're going to travel forwards into face up dog, rounding our back towards the ceiling. So keep looking back towards your pelvis, traveling forwards in that sort of rounded way. That's it. Oh, that's it. Thank you. Looking, that's it. Good. And just see how it feels. And it might, yes, you might need to have slightly further, not too far forwards now. And then just see if you can reverse that movement. So come back, tuck your toes under, round your back, look back behind you. Let breath come in and then traveling forwards again, rounding your back to the ceiling. That's it, all the way into face up dog, untucking your toes. We're going to do this 3 times. So just sometimes there's a little toing and froing to get the arms in the right position. Shoulders down away from the ears. That's it. Well done. Okay, one more time. Tuck the toes under, back. Let the breath come in. As you exhale, traveling forwards, looking back behind you, all the way into your face up dog. Good, shoulders down away from the ears. And then from here, you're just going to come into a little breather, which will be coming into child pose, and then slithering forwards onto your belly. So, yeah. You just settle on your belly for a moment, giving your pelvis rather a bit of a wiggle. So just make yourself comfortable on your belly. Child pose and then onto your belly. each other is just a sort of transition. And yeah, so I would tend to have one hand on top of the other and my forehead or my cheek resting on the back of my hands, giving the pelvis a little bit of a wiggle. And then, yeah, can you let yourself settle and breathe, lying on your belly? If you're not so comfortable there and you feel a little bit more movement would be helpful, you could bend your knees, take the soles of your feet to the ceiling, let your feet tilt to the right and to the left. But if you're quite enjoying lying on your belly, then just give yourself another few quiet breaths. And what you could think about as you're there is in a moment you're going to make your way from lying on your belly up into standing in a sort of easy and comfortable way. So I'm sort of leaving that up to you. If you've got your legs up in the air, maybe just let them come rest on the floor for a moment. Imagine yourself making the transition into standing. And then when you're ready, do it. So again, there's no right or wrong way here. It's just you coming into standing in a way that's going to feel comfortable. Yes, so maybe perhaps a little drink of water on the way is a good idea. Yes, very, very nice. So we're going to come into standing and we're going to be doing some balances, doing some forward bends, doing a little bit of movement. So I think the first thing is perhaps just let yourself settle in standing as it is quite warm. Come towards the middle of your mat so you feel that you've got plenty of space around you. And maybe start by looking down at your feet. So we're trying now to let our weight and our attention and our awareness drop down into the feet. So looking at the feet will help. And then stop looking at your feet, maybe look forwards, even close your eyes for a moment and just come to a little bit of swaying from side to side. So as we sway from side to side, can we feel the weight in one foot, the weight in the other? So keep both feet on the floor for the moment. Just feel the weight shifting more into one foot and then into the other. And then just see if you can make those shifts of weight smaller and smaller until you settle down in standing without sway. And let a breath come in, let a breath leave. And again, see if you can drop your shoulders down, let a breath come in, let a breath. And then from here, we're going to open our eyes and we're going to come and move, and we're just going to do our easy swinging twist. It's going to have the children, which I haven't heard, it's my first time back for quite a long time. It's very strange. It's the first time in years that I haven't had a child in that school. So I think I'm probably going to be really intolerant now of the noise.
In Hastings, they went back on Thursday.
Well, my youngest, who's just started at Barndean, started on Thursday. He has.
Oh God, new era.
Oh my God, yes. Good. So a few more times, slapping the arms onto the body. Good. Okay. That's it. So enjoying the movement. You can feel the air on your skin, which is nice today. Great. And then what we're going to do is settle down in standing again and see how it feels to come into a forward bend. And we can take that fairly easily, just depending on how our lower backs are feeling. So settle the feet down good, a little distance apart. And then perhaps what you could do to start with is to come forwards and rest your elbows on your thighs. Have your knees a bit bent and just sort of see how that feels. And if it all feels super easy, you can go on to releasing your arms to the ground. If you want to stay with your elbows on your thighs because your lower back's feeling a little bit vulnerable, stay there, or just you're maybe feeling a little bit tight and stiff. Good. So whatever feels right in your body. Yes, you can release forwards and come back to your elbows on your thighs, and just give yourself a couple more breaths in the forward bend. And we're going to be coming in and out of forward bends. And as we do so, things will hope will start to release, start to feel more comfortable and at ease. Okay, so let a breath come in as you exhale, sink into your heels, roll up into standing, or walk your hands up the fronts of your legs if your lower back's good. And then bring your hands into prayer pose in front of you. And just come back to that swaying movement. So that's shifting your weight over one leg and the other leg. So we're going to come into a very sort of simple little balance. And you're doing the swaying movement to choose which foot you're going to stand on. I've got my thumbs actually touching my breastbone, just really to keep the hands out of the way. So whenever you're ready to bring your weight onto one foot, you're going to come up onto the ball of the other foot, and then you're just going to stand that foot on top of your chosen foot. And then see how that feels. And it's fine if we feel wobbly. And Linda and Penny, if you feel wobbly looking at someone, you can always turn. No one's going to think you're antisocial. You can turn so you're facing the wall. That's just not the mirror, Penny. It's really worse. So good. And just see for another breath or so, how does it feel to settle down here? Try and let the shoulders be soft and relaxed. And then we can release the arms, give the legs a shake out, and we'll try the other side. So yeah, remember it's, if you don't, yeah, if looking at someone, so looking at the wall might be helpful. So bring your hands back into prayer pose, rest your thumbs on your breastbone. So we've just got that feeling that the arms and the hands are sort of out of the way. That contact of the hands can be helpful. Come back to a little bit of swaying from side to side. You know which foot you're standing on now, but maybe a little bit of swaying will help. And then eventually taking your weight over onto the leg you're standing on now, leg number 2, up on the ball of the other foot, and then stand the foot you just stood on top of the other one. And then just, how does it feel to settle? Can we let the shoulders soften? We've got that steady contact of the palms. Maybe we let the shoulders soften, we let the jaw relax. Notice what our standing foot is doing. We have this intention of it settling down, but it might well be wobbling a little bit, which is fine. It's just helping to make all these adjustments to steadying the whole length of your body. It's fine if you have a wobble and you need to bring your top foot onto the floor. Brilliant. Well done, everyone. Come out, have a little shake out. And then you're going to go back into another forward bend. Now, I think, I haven't written it in my notes, but I was thinking, in this forward bend, really depending on how you're feeling, if you feel that you want some movement and you want to do the one where you sweep your arms, the Weeping Willow one, from side to side around the fronts of your feet, make sure you're letting your head hang. That's it. Then you could do that. But again, it's up to you. You might want to rest with your elbows on your thighs, depending how your back's feeling. When I was camping this summer, I went to this, I've been there for a couple of years, COVID and everything, back to this pub where there's this beautiful, in front of the pub, this beautiful river with loads of weeping willows. So I didn't realise that's what I always think about when I'm doing this pose, this sort of beautiful shallow river where the trees are trailing their leaves and branches in the water. Very nice. So from there, maybe just settle in the centre for a moment and then sink into your heels and roll back up into standing. Now, we're going to do, give your legs a little shake out if you like. We're going to do a slightly more involved balance. So we're going to be catching the top of our foot. And Nigel, I just realised I can't say to you, catch your trouser leg. So if it's hard to catch the top of your foot, you could always rest your foot on the sofa seat. Just going to see what shorts on. So anyone else? Shorts on. Okay, so what we're going to do this time is we're going to start to reach up into one arm. If you can remember which foot you stood on first, and come to that arm and reach up through that arm. It doesn't matter too much. You're reaching up through that arm and you're starting to shift your weight onto that leg. So you reach up through the arm, you shift your weight onto that leg. You feel your other foot is peeled off the floor and you're going to catch the top of your foot or your trouser leg or rest your foot on the sofa seat. Good. And then from here, the other hand comes down onto your breastbone. And just let yourself sort of settle and quieten here. You're trying to let your bent knee drop towards the ground. Good. And sometimes it's helpful to bring the hand down onto the belly, just to sort of let your belly quieten and move back. So particularly if the lower back is feeling at all. Good. Just another breath or two. Very nice. So yeah, handy beams there, Sheila. So come down, have a little shake out. We're going to take this a bit further in a moment, but I thought we'd just do this variation a bit first. And then settle your feet back down and we'll come on to side two. So you're going to be reaching up through the other arm now. Yes, looking wherever you want, not in the mirror. Reaching into the other arm, shifting your weight into the other leg. Coming up onto the ball of the foot you just stood on. You can be that sort of halfway point. You've still got your toes on the floor. And then just sneak the foot off the floor. That's good. And the hand come down to the breastbone. Just this sort of settling. Gathering to our centre quietly. Letting the knee drop to the floor. The lower back feels a little bit tight or you feel a bit busy through your front ribs, your hand can come to your belly. Particularly if you're thinking about your knee moving back a little bit to be level with the other knee. Hand on the belly or the ribs is good. And then come down and have a little shake out. And yes, one more forward bend, I think. So you can choose whether you're doing a quiet forward bend or you're going to be swinging your arms. You're just coming forward. And if in this forward bend or in the next one we do, you feel that you want to bend your knees and come down towards a squat to lengthen out your lower back, that's another possibility. So yeah, that's it. It's fine if your heels come up. But if you want to put something under your heels equally, you can do, yes. But again, it can be quite nice, the feeling of lengthening out the lower back. Good. So in a moment, we're going to be revisiting that balance as part of a little sequence, going a little bit further with it. But again, if you feel that you need to, use put your foot on the sofa, you might want to move at that point. So from your squat, from your forward bend, make your way back up into standing. So we're going to be, from our feet being side to side, we're going to be stepping 1 foot forward. So start with your feet a little distance apart on your mat. And then you're going to step 1 foot forwards. So sort of walking pace. And then you're just going to be doing a little bit of shifting your weight forwards and back. Okay, so this walking where we're not getting anywhere. It's feeling our weight going into our front foot, feeling our weight in our back foot. And as much as possible, just trying to make that the focus of our attention, feeling our feet on the floor. It's quite good to be able to see what's going on as well, Penny, as well as feel it. Good. And then the first thing I'd like you to do is settle down So settle down now, have a look at both feet, check they're both pointing forwards. You can make any little adjustments you like. And then just bring your hands onto your pelvis for a moment. We're going to swing our arms and we're going to try not to move the pelvis. It's fine if it moves a bit. And next week, if I remember, we're going to explore letting the pelvis move here. But this week, I just want you to see, yeah, how much can you move from the waist up? And how planted can you feel from the waist down? Good. Very nice. And then pause in the centre, and we're going to see how it feels to go forwards in a forward bend here. So you can bend your front knee, and you could first of all come forwards and just rest onto that bent front leg thigh. And then from there, if you want to go lower, so keep your back leg straight, but the front knee's bent. If you want to go lower, you could then release your arms to the floor, let your head go, let your chest come close to your thigh, and see how that feels. But equally, you could stay resting with your elbows on your thigh. And just have a couple of breaths in this forward bend. So it's a sort of stepped forwards, forward bend. And then let a breath come in. As you exhale, sink down into your footprints. Come back up into standing. Good. Now, you're going to bring your front leg hand onto your breastbone. Great. And then we're going to start to shift our weight into our front foot. And we're going to catch the back foot. So coming back into that balance we were just in. If you need to adjust yourself to use the sofa, then please do so. So we're going to see if we can catch that. But obviously a belt's another option for catching your foot. Good. And then from here, if you like, you can move into the further version of this where we start to reach forwards with our arm and we reach our foot backwards away from our bottom. So we've got the sort of forwards and backwards feeling going on. Obviously this might make us feel a bit more wobbly, which is fine. It might be we just, for a moment or two, that's very good, well done. Moment or two, we feel that's it, good. And if we let our pelvis roll to the side, that's fine. Yes, well done, brilliant, Nigel. And come down, whenever you've had enough. That's brilliant, well done. Excellent. Have a little shake out. And then just between sides, come into a normal forward bend. So we're going to do that whole little sequence on side two. But just come down into a normal forward bend, first of all. And if you like, on into a squat. So that's up to you. But just, yeah, normal forward bend. So this time when we come to our balance, we're going to try to add in one extra little thing, which is smiling, all right? So see if that's possible. You might have been doing it in your last one, I just missed it. Good. So from your squat, from your forward bend, make your way back up into standing. Give your legs a little shake out. And then we'll try this same little sequence on the other side. So from your feet being side by side, you're going to step the other foot forwards. And you're going to start by rocking your weight forwards and back. So just starting hopefully in a sort of easy, reassuring way. Weight into the front foot, weight into the back foot, feeling the ground beneath our feet. Couple more times, and then we'll do that swinging movement. So we'll settle the feet down, looking at the feet perhaps, making sure both feet are pointing forwards. Then stop looking at the feet, maybe bringing your hands onto your pelvis for a moment, trying to think, okay, this part of me is not going to move. Well, that's my intention. And I swing my arms and move from the waist up. Good. The feet and the legs stay sort of quiet and calm. Lovely. And then from here, you can make your way into the forward bend. So keep the back leg straight, bend your front knee. Perhaps come forwards to lean onto that bent front leg for a moment. So steadying yourself through your legs and your feet. And then folding forwards, letting the head go, letting the arms go, letting your chest come close to your heart. And give yourself a few breaths there. Good. Breath Come in, let the breath leave, have a look at your toes in your front foot. Are they long and relaxed? Good. And then sink into your heels, come back up into standing. That's it. And then bring your hand onto your breast, so front leg hand onto your breastbone. And that front leg is fairly straight now, but not locked. Yeah, so better it's bent than it's locked, okay. And then we're going to be shifting our weight into our front foot. So we then can then catch the top of our back foot. We'll use the belt or the chair. And then from here, we're reaching our arm forwards. We're reaching our heel back away from our bottom. Maybe we tip forwards a bit. Maybe we let our pelvis roll away from the sand. We try to smile this time. Well done, fabulous, really good. Amazing. Yeah, really well done. Really well done. Yeah. Having a little shake out. We're going to come back into our forward bend and squat. But this time from our squat, we're going to go down into cobbler pose. So you might want to stand like I am in the middle of your mat, facing the long edge of your mat, because we're going to come back down. So when you're ready, sinking into your heels, rolling forwards into a forward bend. And then from your forward bend, starting to bend your knees forwards over your feet. It doesn't matter whether your heels come up, you're coming down into a squat. That's it. And you can have 2 or 3 breaths in your squat, but then from your squat, using your fingertips or your hands on the floor, you're just going to gently lower your bottom down. That's it. Again, not always the most elegant of movements. And come back to cobbler pose. So what I wanted us to do now is just revisit the cobbler pose and pinwheel that we were doing at the beginning of class and see how they feel now. And then, yeah, let's see. So lean back on the hands, or you could be holding your feet. Everyone looks a little bit more comfy. And then in your own time, you can make your way into pinwheel on one side. So you can let one knee come to the other knee, slide the top leg back. See how it feels to do a little bit, maybe a little bit of circling here. If you prefer, you can come on into your pinwheel forward bend without much circling. So turning towards that knee that's going out to the side. And folding forwards, just like we do in child pose. Coming forwards, bringing the weight of our body over that thigh where the knee is going out to the side. And letting the breath come in, letting the breath in. And just here, see if you allow yourself to come to sort of a quiet place where you're feeling your body responding to the breathing. So the feeling of the out breath expanding within you. So the in breath expanding within you, and the feeling of the out breath sort of softening you, helping you settle onto the breath. Whenever you like, you can make your way back up through cobbler pose and onto side 2 of pinwheel. So again, I'm just going to leave it a little bit up to you. So if you come into cobbler pose and you want to do any things, there was sort of rocking, there was the knees, you can do that if you like being in cobbler pose, or you can make your way straight on into side 2 of pinwheel. And again, when you end up in pinwheel, it's up to you whether you do a little bit of circling or a lot of circling, or whether you come straight on into your pinwheel forward bend. And when you arrive in your forward bend, you see if you can settle in a sort of quiet place with your breath. Again, feeling the expansion of the inhalation, the sort of quiet settling of the out. Perhaps another breath come in, another breath leave you. And what I'd like you to do is we're going to take this sort of quiet focus on our breathing into one more dog pose, a forward bend, and coming into standing one last time before we lie down. But I want you to just make this, this focus on sort of quiet breathing. So coming to settle on hands and knees. And before you come into dog pose, it's maybe feeling a breath come in, a breath leave. Again, that same sort of then quiet focus in dog. Hands and knees. When you're ready, you can tuck your toes under, you can rock your hips back over your heels. And just see in your dog pose, can you find a place? You know, you might want to bend your knees a lot. Can you find a place where you can have 2 or 3 quiet cycles of breath? So that feeling of the breath. The in-breath expanding within you, the out-breath leaving you, softening you. From dog pose, if you're feeling quite happy and quiet and dog, you can have another breath or 2 or 3 there. From dog pose, you're going to move into a forward bend. Again, in your forward bend, you could have a couple of quiet cycles of breath. You might want to bend your knees, bring your elbows to rest on your thighs if you're thinking about just a very sort of quiet, easy forward bend. And whenever you're ready, rolling up into standing. Good. And just coming to settle in standing. So coming to sort of a place on your mat where you can settle your feet down. I was like to be sort of somewhere in the middle of my mat to feel steady. And we're going to do, so one last balance, we're going to do a very quiet tree pose. So we could, you know, if you're thinking about tree pose, just do whatever feels most familiar to you. So it could be, you know, the mini tree where you've got your foot on your ankle, some toes on the floor, that's an option, and hands in prayer pose. It could be bringing your foot higher up onto your thigh if you want to. So think about, you know, tree pose is a really familiar pose for all of us. So just think about something that's sort of quiet and familiar and as reassuring as it can be. And just making your way into that pose. And how does it feel? So we have this intention to sort of be quiet, to be able to feel the flow of our breath. Have a little wobble, it's fine. Just come back to that intention. Come back to feeling our breath. Make sure your jaw is relaxed, your tongue is relaxed. As you coming down, you've had enough, have a little shake out. Nice. And just for a moment before you come on side two, just settle down, look at your feet, see your feet on the floor, perhaps give yourself a little moment in standing. And then starting to make your way onto side two. Again, you might do a very similar tree, put on your ankle, you might want to bring your foot higher up on the leg. It's entirely up to you, whatever helps you to feel as quiet and settled and comfortable as possible. If you like taking your arms up, then that's always an option, but only if it feels comfortable. Now's the time just to be settling rather than pushing ourselves. See if you can locate the feeling of your breath somewhere inside of your body. Little shake out. Now you're going to lie down. So we're just going to lie down quietly now. Yes, you're keen on that prospect. Like, drink of water, lie down. So well done. When you arrive on your back, if there are any little things you want to do, then do them. Otherwise, we're literally just going to settle down and focus on our breathing. So I think you can lie either with your knees bent or your legs long, and bring your hands onto the front of your body, unless you prefer to have your arms down by your side. And that's it, just letting yourselves settle. So perhaps to start with, just see how it feels to settle down. And you could maybe bring your awareness to the front of your body for a moment, to your face. So maybe bring your attention right into that point between your eyebrows. And we can get sort of furrowed brow. And just imagine that point softening and relaxing, not just the skin, but beneath the skin. And also the skin of the forehead, the cheeks, down to the lips and the jaw, and the whole of the front of the face softening and relaxing. Down into the throat as well, just letting the front of the throat feel soft and relaxed. Across the front of the chest, allowing your body to respond to the breathing. Down to the belly, and down into the fronts of your legs and the tops of the feet. So just allowing all of the front of the body to be soft and relaxed and responsive to the breath. If you take your attention then into the back of your body, be aware of the points of the back of your body in contact with the floor. And sometimes when we bring our attention to how our head is resting on the floor, we want to let our head roll a little bit. And so if you want to do that, that's fine. You can let your head roll a little bit to the right and a little bit to the left. And then let it settle down in a comfortable place. And you're feeling the centre of the back of your head on the ground. Feeling the backs of your shoulders on the ground. Noticing how the back of your rib cage and your vertebrae meet with the ground. So you might notice some of your vertebrae touch the ground and some don't. Some parts of the back of your rib cage touch the ground, and some don't. Down to the back of your waist, where there may be a bit of space there between your body and the ground. And then down to the back of your pelvis. Notice how the right side of your pelvis rests on the ground. And how does the left side of your pelvis meet the ground? All the way down through the backs of your legs. If your legs are long, you're going to feel places where the back of your leg is touching the ground, and then also spaces all the way down to your heels. If your knees are bent, just feeling your footprints on the ground and noticing what part of your footprints touching the ground. You will just have another few quiet breaths, and then I'm going to ring the singing bowl. Just allow yourself to carry on resting if you need to be somewhere. There's no rush if you don't need to. If you don't need to get up, you don't have to. Just stop the recording. Thanks very much. Thank you.